The next voting rule which we will consider is CC, which was proposed by Chamberlain and Cohen. So again, we have a ranking over the candidates, and again, every voter gives voter score to every candidate. So again, we will define a satisfaction value for from a committee. So for voter V1, the satisfaction of a committee under the rule CC is the maximum voter score of a committee member. So in this example, satisfaction of V1 is 2 from this committee under the rule CC, because voter V1 likes this green lady more than this red guy, and the voter score of this green lady is 2. So that is why we have a satisfaction of voter V1 as 2. Similarly, we compute the satisfaction of voter V2. For voter V2 also the value is same in this example, because this green lady is preferred more than this red guy, and the border value score of this green lady is 2. That is why satisfaction of voter V2 is 2. So similarly, we compute the satisfaction of all the voters. And again, the CC score is the summation of the satisfaction of all the voters. So in this example, CC score is this 2 plus 2 plus 1, which is 5. And here the goal is to choose a case-sized committee with maximum CC score. And this problem is known to be NP hard. Now we adapt these two voting rules for the multimodal committee selection problem. So let's say we have two layers, L1 and L2, and we first define multimodal K-BODA. Similarly, we can define other rules as well. So in multimodal K-BODA, we'll define max K-BODA, min K-BODA, and sum K-BODA. So max K-BODA is defined as follows. So in max K-BODA, satisfaction of voter VI from the committee S is the maximum satisfaction over the layers. So this notation denotes the satisfaction of voter VI from the committee S in layer Li under the rule K-BODA. And maximum K-BODA score is again summation of the satisfaction over all the voters. So let's consider an example. Suppose we have again this committee of this green lady and red guy. So here the satisfaction of voter V1 in layer L1 from this committee is 2, because the borders in K-BODA, recall that we take the summation of the border score of the committee members. So here the committee member is this green lady and this red guy, and summation of their border score is 2. So satisfaction of voter V1 in the layer L1 is 2. In L2, it is the summation of these two candidates, so it is 1. So satisfaction of V1 is maximum over 2 and 1. So satisfaction of V1 is 2. Similarly, we compute the satisfaction of voter V2 in layer L1 and L2, and then we take summation to get the satisfaction of voter V2. And similarly, we compute the satisfaction of V3. And the max K-BODA score is summation total satisfaction of the voter, so it is 8 here. So similarly, we can define the score voting rule min K-BODA and sum K-BODA. So in min K-BODA, we will just take minimum over the layers, and in sum K-BODA, we take summation over the layers. Rest of the things remain same. So next we will discuss the complexity of max K-BODA. So recall that K-BODA is polytime solvable. But when we just have two layers, the problem becomes NP hard and W hard with respect to the committee size. Okay, so as we increase the layer just by 1, the problem becomes hard. So I'll quickly discuss the reduction here, maybe just intuitive idea, because this trick can be used for many committee selection problems. Okay, so we'll give reduction from the independent set problem. Let's say we have this graph G. So in max K-BODA instance, we'll have 2 layers, and corresponding to every edge, we have a voter, and corresponding to each vertex of the graph, we have candidates. Okay, so we have these 6 candidates corresponding to 6 vertices. Now we need to give the ranking of the candidates for every voter. So look at this red edge. The endpoint of this red edge is this blue vertex and this green vertex. So we will first decide the ranking of this blue vertex and green vertex. So for voter V1 in layer L1, C1 is the most preferred candidate and C6 is the least preferred candidate. And in layer L2, we just do opposite, and C6 is the most preferred candidate and C1 is the least preferred candidate. Okay. So C1 is the candidate corresponding to the blue vertex and C6 is the candidate corresponding to the green vertex. For remaining candidates corresponding to these vertices, we don't care about the ranking. We place them in any ordering after C1 in both the layers. We don't care even about the ordering across the layers. We can have any ordering. Okay. Now, we want to basically capture that the independent set solution goes to the max K Boda solution. That is, whatever independent set you gave me for the graph, the corresponding candidates will give us a solution committee. So the solution size is same in for both the instances. So how do we make sure? So we are looking at the decision version of the problem. So basically we are asking the question that give me a committee of size k with some score. Okay, so we will control. So basically we want to capture here that C1 and C6 both are not part of the committee. So we want that our solution committee should lie in this suffix part for every voter. Okay, so once I ensure this, we know that C1 and C6 both cannot be part of the committee, but we allow one of them to be part of committee. Okay, so we do ensure it by setting the score in a way that that only if you take C6 in the committee or C1 in the committee, something from the this part, then we cannot get the required score. So what we do is we set the score of the committee members as the Boda score of the last k candidates in this suffix part. Okay, and once I know all the candidates, I can easily compute the Boda value of these things. Okay, so but just this does not capture our requirement. If we, because what can happen here, if suppose instead of C3 I can take C1, and this is how we increase the summation significantly, so that now even if you can take C6, because instead of C3 if I take C1 and then instead of C5 I take C6, okay, then also maybe I can get the required score. So to prevent this, we add significant number of dummy candidates here to ensure that even if all the candidates are going from this prefix part, then also C6 cannot go to the committee. So basically we just capture that whatever is the difference, whatever the difference you get from here, you get that many dummy candidates here. So this is how we ensure that C1 and C6 both are not part of the committee. But now what may happen that maybe some candidates from D1 are in the committee, and we don't want this to happen because we want one-to-one correspondence between the committee and the independent set solution. So to prevent this, we again add a large number of dummy candidates, say D2. Now D1 is so large that even nothing from D2 can go to the committee. But even now something from D1 can go to the committee. So what we do is in the for some other voters, D2 is more preferred than, sorry. Oh, yeah. So for V2, D2 is more preferred than D1. So again, D2 is also that large that nothing from D1 can go to the committee. Okay, so now this is more or less the proof. The main thing is that is remaining here is the size of these dummy sets, which I skip here because these are just large values, but it is polynomial in n, m, and k.
Hello? I,
Yes,
yeah, Pallavi, the strip of the colors of the pen is covering the list. Oh, yeah, now it's fine. Thanks.
thanks. Yeah. Okay. So this problem is NP hard and W hard with respect to the solution size, even when we just have two layers. And the problem is W hard with respect to n plus k. But this is also the reduction from multicolored independent set. But in this reduction, L is not fixed, and this is not like by chance. It is because the problem is FPT with respect to n plus L. And this is a simple algorithm that we can just guess the layer which is going to give us the maximum score. And then we just collect all those layers and just compute the committee using the algorithm for K-BODA. But this algorithm gives us L to the power n algorithm. But the question that can we improve this running time remains open here. Okay. So min K-BODA, where we take minimum over the layers, the problem is NP hard and W hard with respect to K plus L, even when we just have one voter. So we cannot hope for FPT algorithms with respect to any natural parameters. But some K-BODA is a polytime solvable problem, and this is also algorithm. So next we will discuss max CC. So here, instead of K-BODA, we are computing the satisfaction of every voter under the rule CC. So this problem, because CC is itself NP hard problem, clearly any multi-model CC is going to be hard, NP hard and W hard with respect to K, even when we just have one layer. But this problem is FPT with respect to the number of voters. So now, like K-BODA was a quite simple problem when L is 1. It was polytime solvable problem, but it becomes hard when we have two layers. It becomes hard even with respect to parameter n, but MaxCC remains FPT with respect to this parameter. Okay, so if we recall the definition of MaxCC, so for every voter, we are getting score only due to the one committee member, right? So we can think that every voter is satisfied by one committee member. So for example, and we call this committee member as representative for this voter. So for example, this V1, for voter V1, for voter V1, we are getting satisfaction in layer L1 due to this green candidate, and in layer L2 also we are getting the satisfaction due to this green candidate. So overall, we are for voter V1, we are getting satisfaction value due to this green candidate. So the representative of voter V1 is this green lady. Similarly, for voter V2, the representative is this green lady, and for V3, if we notice, the satisfaction in layer L1 is due to this green lady, but in layer L2, the satisfaction is due to this red guy, and the maximum is due to this red, due to the layer L2. The representative of voter V3 under rule max CC is this red guy. Okay. So we can think here, we can assume here that the committee size is more than the number of voters are more than the committee size, because if voters are less, then we can just take top preferred candidate for all the voters in the committee, and that is the committee with maximum score, right? So we can, without loss of generality here, we assume that the voters are more than the candidates. So of course, we are going to assign same candidate to lot of voters. Okay, so we think of it like voter set is partitioned into at most k sets. And now instead of assigning voter, instead of assigning committee members to the voters, we assign committee members to these sets. Okay. So, and now the satisfaction, earlier we defined satisfaction of voter from a candidate. Now we'll define satisfaction of a set from a candidate. So satisfaction of a set is basically the satisfaction of all the voters in this set. So for example, for voter V1, the satisfaction of this candidate is 2, and for voter V2 also the satisfaction was 2. So that is why the satisfaction from the set V1, V2, the satisfaction of this green lady is 4. And for voter V3, it is 2. So given this partition of the voter set and candidate set, this looks like a matching problem, right? We are matching a part of the partition to a candidate. But is it any matching? So let's look at an example. So we have, let's say again, the same partition and we have all the candidates. Let's construct a complete bipartite graph here. Okay. So for voter V1, for the set V1, V2, we are constructing here a edge weighted graph. So for voter V1, V2, weight on the screen edge is basically 4, because it basically, the weight on the edges represent the satisfaction of the set from a candidate. So satisfaction of voter, satisfaction of the set V1, V2 from this screen candidate is 4. That's why we assign weight 4 on this edge. Satisfaction of voter V1, V2 from this red guy is V1 is 1. So we assign weight 1 to this edge, and so on. This is how we construct this bipartite graph. Now, if we look at the our solution, in our solution we have this edge and this edge, right? So, and if you notice, this is a maximum weight matching in this graph. Okay, and this is not a coincidence. This will always lead to a maximum weight matching, and we can prove it. So, given a part, if we know this graph, right? If I basically know this partition that is going to give me a committee, then the goal is basically to find a maximum weight matching in this graph, right? So this is what we do, that for all possible, but I don't know this partition of the voter set. So for all possible partition of the voter set, we construct such a complete bipartite graph, weighted complete bipartite graph, and then find a maximum weight matching in the graph. And then we return a maximum weight matching over all the partition. And then we return these endpoints as the solution committee. But now you can notice here that as we are trying all possible partition of the voter set, this gives us n to the power n algorithm. Okay. So this is the algorithm that we presented in the paper, but I'm skipping the proof here because I want to discuss an improved algorithm here. So we can also give a 2 to the power n algorithm for MaxCC problem. And this algorithm is tight, like this exponential factor is tight. And to design this algorithm, we will reduce it to the polynomial multiplication problem. So, so again, let's look at a partition of the voter set. Now, if we can come up with a candidate set and assign those candidates to these voter sets such that satisfaction of V1 C1 plus satisfaction of V2 C2 plus satisfaction of V3 C3 plus satisfaction of V4 C4 is more than the required score, then this partition is going to give us a committee, right? So, but if for a partition of the voter, if we cannot come up with such a candidate set, then such a partition is useless for us, right? So we can just forget about such partition of the voter set, because they are not going to give us a committee. So for these such partition of the voter set, we would like to have a monomial in the our polynomial y to the power chi by b1 union b2 union b3 union b4, where this is a characteristic vector. Chi represent the characteristic vector of a set. So let's say uh, y is some subset of natural numbers, then chi of y. So ith, sorry, this chi is the n length vector, and ith bit of chi y is 1 if I belongs to y. Okay. Okay. So now what is the property that we capture in this monomial is that the exponent is union of four disjoint sets. This is one property. The next property is that there exists a set of candidates C1 to C4 satisfying this condition. Okay. So now we will construct these polynomials iteratively. So first we construct a polynomial Pt alpha 1 where this superscript denote that we are looking for just one set. Size of that set is t, and the score that we are going to get from this set is satisfaction of basically this set is alpha. Okay. So this polynomial has monomials corresponding to a subset of voters whose size is t and corresponding to which we have a candidate in the committee correspond such that satisfaction of x from c is alpha. Then we add a monomial y to the power chi x in this polynomial. So now if we notice that it captures all these properties, right? So it says that we have one set. Because we have one set, there is no concept of disjointness. We have one set and there exists a candidate C1 that satisfies not required score, that satisfies this value alpha. Okay. Now let's construct a polynomial for two sets. So here Pt alpha 2, here we denote that we are going to talk about two disjoint sets. Okay. And the union of those sets contain t elements, and we will have two candidates such that total satisfaction from these two sets is alpha. So to construct this polynomial, we split t into two parts, t1 and t2, and alpha is the two values, alpha 1, alpha 2. And then we take multiplication of the polynomials pt1 alpha 1 and pt2 alpha 2 1. So pt1 alpha 1, we know that it contains monomials corresponding to the sets whose size is t1 and corresponding to which we have a set in the candidate set. We have a candidate in the set which is going to give us satisfaction as alpha 1. Similarly, for P T2 alpha 2 also we know this thing. So we know here, so we have two sets of size T1 and T2 such that C1 is going to give score alpha 1 to this blue part, and C2 is going to give score alpha 2 to this green part. But what we don't know here if these two sets are disjoint, right? We know here that we have two sets, but we don't know that if these two sets are disjoint. Okay. We also know that there are two candidates which we can assign to these two sets, but we don't know if that satisfaction is going to give us the value alpha, because some of the voters here share the candidates maybe in the union part, maybe we will count the score for C1 or C2, right? So this might not give us the score alpha. So we to capture the disjointness, we use the following result, that two sets are disjoint if and only if the number of ones in chi s1 plus chi s2 is same as size of s1 plus size of s2. Okay. So now if I can ensure that whatever polynomial, whatever monomials we are getting in this polynomial contains t number of ones. If we can ensure, if we know this, that we in the monomial we have t number of ones, then we know that here we, whatever sets we are going to get are disjoint, because t1 plus t2 is t, right? And when once we ensure that the sets are disjoint, we also know that alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is equal to alpha. Okay. So, but again, so this is this we call as a Hamming projection on T. So what we do basically, if there is a monomial in which we do not have, which does not have T number of ones in the exponent, then we just ignore those monomials. So we only keep those monomials for which we have T number of ones in the exponent. But we might have the coefficient of these monomials might be large, right? We might get we might get a number of monomials with the same exponent, so it might add up and then leads to large coefficients. So what we do, we just ignore those coefficients and we just keep this representative monomials, okay? Because we just it will be clear little later that, but we just care about the information that there exists a monomial. We don't care about the coefficients, okay? So this was about the two sets, and then we can generalize it to J sets. Okay. So to compute T alpha J, where we want that we have a disjoint union of J sets such that their union has T elements, and we can assign candidates so that the total satisfaction is alpha. So to do this, we multiply the polynomials pt1 alpha 1 j minus 1 and pt2 alpha 2 1. So this will give us j minus 1 disjoint sets, and this will give us one set. So total j sets, and we will only keep those monomials which who for which we have just t number of ones in the exponent. So that will ensure the disjointness, and then again we keep just the representative monomials. Okay, so this is all about the algorithm, and because we have a, characteristic vector of the size n, the degree is bounded by 2 to the power n. So this algorithm runs in 2 to the power n time, because star 2 to the power n time. Let's look at the correctness. Oh, sorry. So if for any j, pn score j is non-zero, then we return yes. Okay, so n basically ensure that we have a partition of the voter sets, because the union of the sets has n elements and voters. So that's why we have obtained the partition of voter set, and this score is basically the required score. Okay. Okay. So let's look at the correctness of the algorithm. So in the forward direction, we want to show that if you have given me the yes instance of the problem, then I want to, then the algorithm should return yes, right? So let's say eta is the required score, and let's say S is the solution committee. So because S is a solution committee, the score is something greater than eta. And let's say x1 to xk be a partition of the voter set induced by S, by which I mean that we assign candidate C1 to the voters in the set X1, C2 to the voters at X2, and so on. Okay, so we want to prove that P and eta prime K has a non-zero term. So to show this, we show even something stronger. We show that pt alpha j contains this monomial. So, and these xi's are same as what we saw in the previous slide. Okay. So this monomial contain this polynomial contain these this monomial, and where t is the like size of x1 plus size of x2 and so on, and alpha is the total satisfaction that we are going to get from these sets. Okay. So we will prove it by induction on J. So when J is 1, clearly because there exists a set x1 that which get the satisfaction x1 from C1, that so we this polynomial contains this monomial. This is just by definition, and then we assume it to be true for J prime, and then let's see it for the case J prime plus 1. So for when t is equal to size t is this value and alpha is this value, then we know that pt alpha j prime plus 1 contains these two terms, right? It is by the construction of these polynomials where t1 is the summation of these values and alpha 1 is the satisfaction that we get from j prime plus 1 sets, and T2 is the size of xj prime plus 1, and alpha 2 is the satisfaction that the set xj prime plus 1 gets from candidate cj prime plus 1. Now, due to the induction hypothesis, we know that this this polynomial contains the term y to the power chi x1 to xj prime, and this contains the term p chi xj prime plus 1. And because we know that this is a solution, and so we know that all these sets are disjoint, right? So we know that pt alpha j prime plus 1 also contains this monomial. Okay, because all these sets were disjoint. Okay, so let's quickly look at the reverse direction proof. So in the reverse direction, we want to show that for any j in the set k, 1 to k, for any value of t in the set 1 to n, and any score value alpha, pt alpha j contains some, if pt alpha j contains a monomial y to the power s, where s is a binary vector, then there exist j pairwise disjoint sets x1 to xj such that the characteristic vector, characteristic vector of their union is S. Size, the summation of their sizes is 2, and there exist candidates which will give us the score as alpha. So once I prove this, we know that we are going to return yes, right? So we can again prove it by induction on J. So PT alpha for j is equal to 1, again it is true by definition, and for j prime plus 1 we notice that if suppose pt alpha j prime plus 1 contains term y to the power s. Okay, so how do we get this term y to the power s? We know that pt alpha j prime plus 1 contains term pt1 alpha 1 j prime plus like, and this term multiplication of these two terms such that t1 plus t2 is t and alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is alpha. Then we know that how did we get y to the power s? We get y to the power s by multiplying two monomials y to the power s prime and y to the power s double prime, where y to the power s prime is a monomial in this polynomial, and y to the power s double prime is a monomial in this uh, polynomial. Then by the induction hypothesis, because y to the power s prime is a polynomial in Pt, 1 alpha 1 j, sorry, y to the power s1 is a set, sorry, is a set in this. Oh, sorry, it's fine. So due to the induction hypothesis, we know that there exists J prime disjoint sets whose characteristic vector of union is S prime, and that satisfy all the above properties. And similarly, we know that for S double prime also we have such a set. Okay, and now because we know that like their multiplication is S prime is of S prime contains T1 ones and S double prime contains T2 ones, and their multiplication is giving us T ones. It means that these sets are disjoint, right? So because these sets are disjoint, we know that there are these j prime plus 1 sets are going to give us S, and it satisfies all the above properties. So now we need to show that there exist candidates C1 to Cj prime plus 1, which gives the total satisfaction as alpha. So for x1 to xj prime, by induction hypothesis, we know that there are sets C1 to Cj prime, which will give us the required satisfaction for j prime sets, right? And for xj prime plus 1 also, we know that there exists a candidate Cj prime plus 1 that gives us a score satisfaction of xj prime plus 1, Cj prime plus 1. And because these sets are disjoint, we are going to get the score alpha. Next, for min CC, again the problem is NP hard and W hard with respect to K, even when we have just one voter. And the problem is W hard with respect to the solution size, even when we just have one voter. Okay, so N plus K is resolved, K plus L is resolved here. But the question with respect to the parameter N plus L remains open here. Okay. And now for some CC also, again, we have same interactability results, and all this comes from CC. But this problem is FPT with respect to N plus L. Okay, so now I'll quickly discuss one more generalization of the committee selection problem. So here I'll basically discuss some of the results and some open questions. I'll not go to the technical details because we are almost it's 9:30. So another generalization is that we consider the interaction between the committee members. Okay, so far we just say that okay, we have voters, we have candidates, we have these rankings, and we choose a committee using some voting rule. But what if we want committee to be conflict free? Okay, there might be scenarios where we want such kind of constraints. Yeah. So we model it using a candidate graph. So we construct a graph on the set of candidates, and so the vertex set is same as the candidate set, and the edges between two candidates represent the conflict between the candidates. Okay. So now what we want to choose a committee such that no two committee members are adjacent in the candidate graph. So basically, we are looking for a committee that induces an independent set in this candidate graph. So another interaction that we considered is the connectivity. So again, we modeled it using the same candidate graph where we have candidate set is same as the vertex set, and now the edges between two candidates represent. Sorry, this is not conflict. This is the represent the connectivity between the candidates. Now we are looking for a committee that induces a connected subgraph in this candidate graph. Okay. So we call this problem as QR structured committee selection problem, where Q is some graph property and R is some voting rule. So we have again the ranking over the candidates, and we also have a candidate graph as the input. And now the goal is to find a committee that satisfies the graph property Q and also maximizes the committee score under the voting rule R. So this voting rule, we can consider any voting rule here, right? So, but we considered the property, graph property as the property of independence and the connectivity. And the rules we considered as K-Boda CC, and we considered one more rule, Gaussian stability, but in this talk, I'll just restrict to these two rules. And this was the joint work with Sushmita Gupta and Saket Saurabh, which appeared in IJCAI 2020. So for conflict-free K-Boda, we have a W hardness with respect to the committee size, even for one voter and zero score. And this is not this is natural to believe also, because the independent set problem is W hard with respect to the committee size, right? So we have such a result, and then With respect to the parameter m, 2 to the power m algorithm is trivial algorithm because we can just try all possible subsets of the candidates, and we improve this to 1.4423 to the power m. But this also we don't know if it is typed, so it will be good to come up with to improve this running time if it's possible. For connected k-BODA, we have a FPT algorithm with respect to k, but the question remains open with respect to n. N is number of voters here. For conflict-free CC, again the problem is W hard with respect to size of the committee, even for one voter and zero score. But the problem is FPT with respect to the number of voters when the number of maximal independent set in the candidate graph is polynomial. So basically here we can enumerate all the maximal independent set in the candidate graph, and then we can run the known algorithm for CC with respect to n on these set of candidates. But the next question, for what other graphs we can have this FPT with respect to n. For connected CC, again we have W hardness with respect to k, and we also have FPT with respect to n plus k, but the question is open with respect to n. Okay. So these are some computational questions which remain open, but another direction of research here is to consider different voting rules, of course, and also consider the different graph properties, if that makes sense in the case of committee selection problem. Another thing is that here we are looking for a conflict-free committee. So we want a committee that induces an independent set in the candidate graph. But we can but it is possible that such a committee does not even exist. So we can relax these constraints, and we can ask that okay, I don't want zero edges between the committee members, but as minimum as possible. So those kind of things also can be tried here. Yeah, thank you. If there's any question, please.
Thank you so much for the talk. And yes, we are open for questions. If you have any questions, please unmute yourselves and ask. Or if you prefer, you can type in the chat. All right, then I suppose there are no questions. So I'd like to thank you once again for the talk. It was nice to have you. And thanks to the audience for being around. We conclude the session for today. See you all next week. Bye.